Now, here's an ingredient that has garnered quite a lot of fear online, and I'm not 100% sure why. It is just carbs, right? And it's nothing dangerous about it, and it's actually a great source of fiber. But no matter, I've seen many a community ask that their favorite influencer's product that contains xanthan remove it due to reported stomach issues.
You may not know it, but your food may contain the two ingredients xanthan gum or guar gum. If you see the word gum in the ingredient, this is what it can possibly lead to in your body: excess belly fat, bloating, gassiness, IBD, inflammation, and mucus all around the body.
This is so disgusting. I want to get the wording just right. Xanthan gum is an ingredient extracted from a slime produced from bacteria.
We just don't know. This is a new finding. So even though it's present in a lot of health foods, that is the reason why I would not eat it. I don't want to consume it and then find out years down the line that, oh wait, it actually makes you chronically depressed.
Xanthan is a wonderful ingredient and is actually quite good for your body. So let's talk about xanthan gum today. So I feel like every few years or so, generally recognized as safe ingredients like xanthan gum start being scrutinized by the public, which is good, right? We should start to question whether or not things are safe over time. However, this has led to some quite alarming fear-mongering about the ingredient online.
You ever notice how xanthan gum and guar gum are in almost every healthy product? Xanthan gum was first developed for industrial use. Think cosmetics and oil drilling. And guar gum is used in things like paper manufacture. Here's the thing, I noticed these thickeners made my brother and I feel off. That's why we decided to skip them and stick with clean ingredients.
Which, honestly, it does beg the question, right? Is xanthan gum safe to eat? Why, yes it is. It's generally safe for most ingredients as long as you don't have an allergy to it. Now, if you want to figure out if you have an allergy to it, please go to your nearest doctor and let them figure it out for you. Don't rely on YouTube or social media to tell you that. Xanthan is not some unknown, unused, unresearched ingredient. It's been around for quite some time. It is a fermentation product and it comes from bacteria. And also, like I said earlier, it is a wonderful source of natural fiber.
I am not one of those it's okay in moderation influencers. If you had bariatric surgery, you have no idea what moderation is. Does it look like I know moderation? Have you seen how many tattoos I have? When you see this in a protein powder or a protein shake, it actually sparks diarrhea episodes. Yes, it does.
Xanthan has been known to make people hit the bathroom more frequently when they ingest large amounts of it. Now, this was demonstrated in an EU study back in 2017 where they had, I think it was 10 patients eat a tablespoon of xanthan for 10 days straight. Now, recognize that this number may be lost on you. So to put it into perspective, so imagine dipping your tablespoon measure in that bag of xanthan you just bought and then eating that. I mean, obviously not like dry, right? That you probably need to make a solution of that, because if you eat it dry, that could be probably dangerous, I imagine. But yeah, imagine eating that, that's a lot of xanthan. If you have reported having stomach issues while ingesting this ingredient, feel validated because the science backs you up, unlike xanthan. Okay, let's move on to application questions. And these are really good questions I got on my TikTok video that's been doing quite well. I'm very proud that people seem to be resonating with that video. And I do have a couple more on the way, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to highlight really just one, maybe two. The best one I got was this one. If xanthan is water soluble, then, why do you use it in things like butter or ice cream? This is a very good question. And xanthan's role in both is very similar. However, it doesn't hurt to have more than one example to demonstrate something. So let's start with everyone's favorite, ice cream. If you have water and fat, they will separate. Everybody knows that oil and water don't mix. Well, if you have a stabilized base, you can actually prevent water and fat from separating once it hits your freezer. If you didn't know, your freezer does not maintain frozen temperatures indefinitely. It'd be way too expensive. You would hate freezing things. Whenever your ice cream base heats up, that free water, that unstabilized water, will then freeze and form ice crystals. Every time this process repeats, those ice crystals get bigger and bigger. Now, xanthan is interesting because it's a starch. It's a carb, which is water soluble. Xanthan is not soluble in fat. What this means is you can actually kind of trap that water and lower the free water concentration using starch or sugar. If you lower the free water concentration, i.e., make more of the water available bound to a starch or a carb or sugar, then you will actually lower the freezing point of your mix. So this is known as depression. I say all that to say, practically speaking, if you have an unstabilized base, what will happen is when you take it out of the freezer and it's frozen, it'll be like rock hard. It will melt really quickly and kind of not be super pleasant to eat. But if you have a stabilized base, it'll actually be softer out of the freezer and also will melt more slowly so you can get, more flavor release, enjoy it more. The irony is that xanthan is already added to most of the products that you are using to make, say, a Ninja Creamy ice cream. So with that being said, it's not too terribly important for you to add more xanthan to an already stabilized base. It'll be fine. But for the tryhards out there like me who like to make all their own products like nut milks, things like that, if you add a homemade nut milk that has not been stabilized and try to make ice cream out of it using the Ninja Creamy method, you may be dissatisfied with the end result.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands up, everybody, hands up from the...
Which brings me to its next application, which is its use in a butter sauce. A colloid is just a very fine suspension of insoluble material. They seem special to us home cooks, but in reality, they are very common. Hydrated starch is an example of a hydrocolloid. Beaumonte is a suspension of butter through the use of air. This is somewhat hard to grasp, but you've seen this in your kitchen as well. Think whipped cream. Now, air is not that stable as it will eventually leave the sauce over time. This is why some Beaumontes, especially ones made by us home cooks, need to be inevitably whisked to resuspend the butter. Now, xanthan is a suspension using water. Water is more dense than air, and that's why you have a thicker sauce that has a much easier time at suspending the butter than air alone. Water is also much more stable. Air will leave the sauce more rapidly than water, so the xanthan thickened sauce won't be separating anytime soon. Some may be tempted to call this a colloid within a colloid. I know I have. You are on the right track of thinking, but it's really not that deep. It's all being suspended, so it's all a colloid. Now, hats off to the old school chefs who first pioneered this sauce. There must have been a time when how fast you can whisk was tied to your skill as a chef, or maybe your masculinity. So many a forearm were sacrificed to bring this sauce into modern times. But thank God for blenders, because I only use a hand blender to make Beaumonte. I no longer use a whisk. So the shelf life of Xan water or Xan stock or whatever you want to call it depends almost exclusively on the cleanliness of your kitchen. All right, well, that is pretty much everything I wanted to say about xanthan gum. I've yapped long enough about the ingredient. It is a good ingredient. It's a good natural fiber. Don't let social media and the TikTokers scare you. They'll move on to another ingredient a year from now anyway and kind of leave xanthan in the dust. But we'll be here still using the ingredient and enjoying it. So yeah, if you like the video, be sure to like it. And if you want to see more, subscribe.
If you are trying to be healthy and lose weight, lose fat, please stop buying this. This is a perfect example of sneaky ingredients hiding in your so-called health foods. And P.S. it has nothing to do with the M&Ms. We obviously know those are not healthy. But the fact that this is advertised as healthy when it has this ingredient in it is mind-blowing. So the sneaky ingredient in here that is holding you back from losing weight, losing fat, and being healthy is xanthan gum.
Hey, what you up to, Austin?